More on what this would mean, let's bring in Sheila Bair, former chair of the FDIC, and our own Eamon Javers is in Washington. Eamon, let me start with you. Where did this chatter begin? And as I understand it, it is the people who have been vetting people who are asking those for financial positions, and they are asking people, what could we do to streamline the regulatory apparatus, the FDIC, comptroller of the currency, et cetera?
Yeah, that's exactly it, Tyler. The Wall Street Journal's done some great reporting here, and what they've picked up on is the questions that incoming Trump-affiliated Treasury people and also this new DOGE organization, the Department of Government Efficiency under Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, are asking people who are being interviewed for some of these bank regulatory jobs in the Trump administration what they think about how to streamline the alphabet soup of bank regulators and how they can achieve efficiencies there. So the question I'm left with in my mind, Tyler, is how much of this is about sort of re-scrambling the alphabet soup and how much of it is really about lowering regulation overall. And I think, if you talk about bank supervision and the, regulation on banks that's been going on for nearly a century now, some of that could be concerning to people in the industry if you're talking about eliminating regulations altogether. But if you're talking about just sort of streamlining the bureaucracy here and making things more efficient and saving the government some money, that might go over pretty well in the industry, even though a lot of industry players kind of like having their own regulator. They kind of like being able to play the regulators off of each other, as they so often do in D.C.
Sheila, I assume you think this is a bad idea. Why would it be a bad idea? I understand why it could be a bad idea to eliminate the FDIC, but why would it be such a bad idea to fold it into the Treasury Department or within some other agency?
Yeah, so I guess why is that a good idea? The FDIC's got a perfect record of protecting insured deposits, been doing it for 90 years. It's been a stabilizing force. During the great financial crisis, when I was chair some 14 years ago, deposits were coming into banks because people had a lot of confidence in the FDIC. So it's not broke, don't fix it. I'm a former Treasury official, too. I love Treasury. I was Assistant Secretary for Financial Institutions with oversight of bank policy during the W. Bush administration. So I have some perspective on this from both agencies. And first of all, I don't think Treasury wants it, at least not the current administration. But also, it's not FDIC insurance is backed by bank premiums. It's not taxpayer dollars, which is what the finance piece that Treasury deals with. They don't have expertise in resolving failed banks. And then the brand. I mean, why create that confusion? People know the FDIC brand. You go into the bank, you see it there. It's comforting. It's reassuring. Why change the brand? Why shift it to another entity that's guaranteeing those deposits when it has been working very well? So, no, I think it's and it wouldn't happen anyway. It'd just be a waste of time. Congress isn't going to do that. I would be very surprised if Congress approved legislation to do that.
Sheila, I'm glad you're here today because I've actually been thinking a lot about this. I believe there was a bank in Oklahoma that failed in the past couple of months where some of the depositors were wiped out. And a lot of people in the industry feel it's unfair because obviously if Chase failed, they're going to make all those depositors whole. But if this Oklahoma bank fails, well, then they don't. And so we have this two-tiered system right now. So I'm sort of like, you know what? Then put it in the Treasury. And at least we all know at the end of the day, this is taxpayer money that's going to come to bail these banks out. And unfortunately, probably cause more bank problems in the meantime.
Yeah, so I think those are two different issues. So I don't think I support expanding deposit insurance guarantees to transaction accounts. I think there's a very uneven playing field between the smaller banks that do not have this implied government too big to fail status and the very big ones. So the answer to that is to expand deposit insurance coverage. The problem you're flagging, Kelly, doesn't have anything to do with that. Isn't solved by moving it into Treasury. You still have to change the deposit insurance rules, whether Treasury is guaranteeing it or the FDIC is guaranteeing it. You still have to change the deposit insurance rules. And if they're suggesting now that taxpayers, with our $36 trillion in national debt, if that's the idea, to move it to Treasury so taxpayers will now provide this guarantee versus bank premiums, which is what's been going on for 90 years, then I think that's a really bad idea. So, yeah, expand deposit insurance coverage, but keep the banks paying for it and keep it separate with the sole focus just on protecting those depositors. Consumers have a lot of confidence in the FDIC. It's not broken. Don't fix it.
Could you still do that then and say, okay, we leave the structure of it intact, but I think one of the things they're trying to look at is, do you need, 12 or whatever the number is, different agencies? Or can a lot of this just kind of be done if there was one office of blah, 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 blah that was in charge of a lot of it?
Yeah. So this has been debated for a long time. And I think we do need some regulatory streamlining. We have too many regulators. I had made some suggestions in my book that was published. I got it back there some time ago. So, but, I think that there's no duplication of deposit insurance. The FDIC does that and nobody else does that. Where you have arguable duplication and overlap is with the supervisory, the regulatory functions. So there have been past proposals to take the FDIC's supervisory authority, the Fed's, the OCC, and combine them all into some kind of new agencies. I think that proposal has some downsides too. But that's when people have been talking about this in the past, that's what they're talking about, not getting rid of the FDIC. And so that I think that's, but I will tell you, this thing's been debated forever, for decades. It never goes anywhere. At the end of the day, industry just won't put their muscle into it. Hank Paulson had some great proposals during when I worked with him during the Bush administration, went absolutely nowhere. That's where most of these go. So they want to spin their wheels on it, fine. But I just think we've got bigger problems to worry about than this.